Good afternoon. It's Friday, and so that means it's Encouragement Friday, and it's a noisy day here in my backyard, but we're just gonna flow with that. So, I think it was last week or so I told you that I really wanted to chat with you about this book that I really think you've got to read if you haven't already read it. And if you have read it, then maybe this is just like a little refresher course for you. So the name of the book is The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews, and it's been on and off a popular book that people share with each other. I think it was even on like Good Morning America or something like that. And someone had given the book to my husband actually in the first year that we got married. I don't want to ruin this story for you, but I will tell you that it's set around what's called the 7 decisions for success. And it kind of, you take this journey with this guy in the book, and so I'm just really going to focus on the decisions, and I want to chat with you each week about one of the decisions, and then hopefully throughout the week you can kind of maybe focus or think about or reflect on the previous week's decision. And if you don't pick up the book, then you can just keep going with me on the decisions process. But if you do pick up the book, I promise you it's a very simple read. It's a great story, and it's, like I said, wrapped around these awesome concepts for life. And the main character in the book, has come to a point where nothing in life seems like it's going his way. And he, like many of us, is fraught with, kind of blaming all the different things in his life and not understanding, like, kind of being in the why me frame of thought. So, again, without giving away too much, the first decision for success is the buck stops here. And that buck stopping is with you, or if we're just talking about me, the buck stops with me. And if you listen to any Gary Vee, something I always hear him say is that he blames everything on himself. So if he's late, if this happened, if that happened, he blames it on himself. And if you don't really identify with that line of thinking, that the buck stops here, you might not get that that's what that means. Is he's saying, I'm gonna accept responsibility and be accountable for every single thing that happens in my life, from my thoughts to my emotions, to my actions and my reactions. And that means a lot when all of a sudden you take ownership for all those things, because it's easy to blame being late on our kids or our car or our life, or blame things going on wrong in our life on our partner or our spouse, or where we live, or how we look, or just all the different things that we tell ourselves are the reason why XYZ in our life is not in motion. And as always, I don't want to take away from anything that has been a part of who you are in your life. I know that we all go through a lot of different challenges in our lives, and you've got to do your work on those things. And I think when you read this first part of the book, if the buck stops here does not resonate with you in that first chapter, then this book might not be for you right now. You might not be in a position to really be making that headlong trek into success, because to be successful and to really be like the great successes of our time and from the past, we've really got to step into that position of ownership for what goes on in our lives. Because again, we can look at all the things in our life and easily point at what something or someone or something had to do with why that happened to us or happened that way. But if you dig deeper, if you peel the onion layers back a little bit, you got to know that there's at least a thought that you had in there. Like, here's one. well, I entered a contest for this. I'm not gonna win. I never win anything. Well, that right there, that's an ownership thing for you to look at. Is you had that thought, so that right there, you need to own the fact that maybe you wouldn't have won, but you surely aren't going to win, because that's the way that you were thinking about it. So that's a really basic one. And if you really just made the choice today or anytime in the next week or two that, you know what, I'm going to start taking steps in the direction of having the life that I want to have. And success is going to be different for everybody. Success to me isn't just having the biggest house, having the most cars, having the most money. Success for a lot of us can really just mean having a good relationship with somebody, accepting love, receiving love, being a good parent, breaking the cycle of maybe some dysfunction in our life. So success can mean a lot of different things, but every single one of those things is all going to require you to begin taking ownership for, in the very least, your thoughts. And if you can start owning your thoughts, and then you can start owning the words that you say. Because even me, I mean, I never will talk to you about something if it's not, it's always going to be something that I've struggled with too, you know. And it's easy for me to pop off at the mouth, and I've spent probably the last 20 years learning to control my tongue, because it's just not worth it. It's not worth it half the time to say the things that come out of my mouth. And if I did, I would oftentimes be full of regret. So I don't have to wait till I pop off at the mouth to own it. I can own it before it happens by just not doing it. And so I think a big step in beginning to shift behaviors in ourselves, to just have a good life, if that's your only success goal, is to just have a decent life with your family, yourself, or your children, whatever that is, then you've got to make the buck stop right here with you. And like I said, start owning the thoughts that you have. You know, if that's about your husband, you need to stop thinking about him like he's a piece of crap. You need to stop looking at him and making remarks to him about what he does and doesn't do around there. The buck right there needs to stop with you. You need to stop that, okay? Because if you want his behavior to be different, you got to start talking to him different, okay? Because you play a role in that. You can blame everything that's going on in the house and in your life on how he acts and how he's just not this and he's not that. But honey, the buck stops with you, and he needs encouragement from you just the same way as your children might. And if you don't have children, then he needs encouragement the same way you encourage your dang old dog. And this goes vice versa. If you're a man, a woman, however your partnership is set up, if you're always thinking thoughts that are kind of to the side of positivity, the buck needs to stop right now with you, because you're heading down a really narrow road to not good if you can't get your head wrapped around those thoughts. And the same way with your work, with your peers. If you don't have a plan to shift out of your situation of work, or shift above, or shift out, or blossom into something else, then the buck's got to stop right there. While you're there, you need to work on having the best thoughts so that you could have the best attitude. And I know that is hard. Believe me, it's one of the biggest and most challenging mind games that we have to play with ourselves sometimes, is dealing with other people. But the buck stops here. It stops with you, and it stops with me. And today, you and I can make a decision to no longer blame the things that go on in our life, especially from here on out. I mean, stuff could have happened to you when you were kids. You could have grown up in the foster system. Your parents could have just been total crap bags to you. They might still be total crap bags to you. But from here on out, you can make the choice, just like I can, to make the buck stop right here and realize that I have control over my thoughts and my emotions, my reactions and my actions. And I can try and put that on other people, But it just doesn't work because the buck stops here. So I hope you'll chew on that a little bit this week. And I know I'm not the first person to ever tell people that you got to stop playing the blame game, but let's do it together. Because I'm telling you, it's making a real difference in my life. Keeping myself just focused on the things that I am in alignment with. Thinking cruddy thoughts about my spouse or my children or life, I am not in alignment with that. So if I make the buck stop here, it's really easy for me to realize what I'm in alignment with and what I'm not. And once you get there, you can pluck things or people in and out of your life based on whether or not you're in alignment with them. But first, it's got to start with you. The buck has got to stop with you. So, thanks so much for checking in with me today. I hope you have the best day ever. And remember, if you get a chance, if you're a reader, to pick up that book or get it on your e-reader. It's The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews. And I hope you have the best day ever. And until next week, I'll check you later, man.